meeting, please mute your mic. And if you haven't already done so, mute your mic now. Jackie, could you take the roll call, please?
Yeah. Okay, Committee Member Hudson?
Here.
Committee Member Mitchoff? We can't hear you.
He's here.
Okay. All right, Committee Member Haskew?
Present.
And Vice Chair Romick?
Here.
Chair Kelly?
Here.
And one more time, I'm going to try for Commissioner Mitchoff.
Here.
We still can't hear you. I will put abstain. Okay.
She does not have a microphone icon on her name here on the participant list, so I don't know what's going on there, but she is here.
Okay, so we do have a quorum, right?
Yes. You have a
Okay.
quorum.
Yes.
So moving ahead, I'll ask any committee questions and comments on an agenda item. If you would like to speak, please physically raise your hand and I'll call on you, unmute your mic, and then after you speak, please remute your mic. I will request any public comment, and if anyone in the public attending wishes to speak during an agenda item, please raise your hand or press *9 if you're on the phone. I'll call on you and we'll follow the same procedure. Unmute to speak and then mute your mic again. You'll have 3 minutes to speak, and after 3 minutes, your mic will be automatically muted and your hand will be lowered. If any action is required on an agenda item, the chair will call the vote. Jackie will conduct a roll call. And when Jackie calls upon you, unmute, vote, and then mute again. So the next item on the agenda is the public comment. Jackie, do we have any public speaker cards?
No public comment.
No public comment. Okay, so to move on.
Karen is waiting. Karen is waiting to come in.
Karen had to go out and come back in. Just didn't want to do its thing. Can you hear me?
Hi, Karen. Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hello.
Hi. So the next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from July 1st, 2020. Are there any changes or any comments from the committee? If so,
Move approval.
Second.
okay. Motion to approve and a second. Jackie, could you call the roll?
Yes. Committee Member Haskew?
Aye.
Committee Member Hudson?
Aye.
Committee Member Mitchoff?
Yes.
Vice Chair Romick?
Yes.
Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Okay. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so we're on to the consent calendar now. And does anyone want to pull an item? Are there any comments or changes?
Move approval.
Okay, there's a motion to approve. Is there a
Second.
second? There's a motion and a second.
Good luck.
Say again?
Good
Okay,
luck trying to figure out who got the second in first.
all right. I'm going to give it to you, Loella. And I think Dave made the motion.
I think
Thank
it was Roman.
you.
Give it to
No.
Kevin.
I'll give it to Romick.
Jackie, could you
Report.
call the roll, please?
Yes. Committee Member Haskew?
Aye.
Committee Member Hudson?
Aye.
Committee Member Mitchoff?
Yes.
Vice Chair Romick?
Yes.
And Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. So we're on to number 3, and this is the regular agenda items. The next item is for recommended approval of resolution 20-27-G to execute an agreement with Caltrans for vehicle miles traveled mitigation program presented by Matt Kelly. Matt, are you here?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Chair Kelly, and good evening, Planning Committee members. Matt Kelly here, Senior Transportation Planner with the Authority. As most of you know, the Authority and Contra Costa's local agencies are in the midst of implementing the shift of measuring traffic impacts from level of service to vehicle miles traveled, or VMT, in CEQA, and that's required under Senate Bill 743. Just during discussions with our local planning directors and other local agency staff, Leading up to the implementation of SB 743, the authority heard loud and clear the desire for a regional approach to mitigating VMT. This idea was further fleshed out as part of the development of the March 2020 Transportation Expenditure Plan and resulted in the inclusion of a VMT mitigation program in the plan. The concept of a countywide VMT mitigation program would support our local jurisdictions and the county in their efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and implement land use decisions and transportation improvements that would reduce reliance on single occupancy vehicles. A VMT mitigation program would also benefit the authority in its efforts to plan and construct improvements on the state highway system. So this past October, authority staff submitted a Sustainable Communities Transportation Planning Grant application to Caltrans in order to fund a study to develop a VMT mitigation program for Contra Costa. So back in June, a couple months ago, Caltrans announced a successful award of $400,000 to the authority for this important effort. The grant scope of work is, you can find that in attachment B, describes a program framework that would allow developers and institutions whose projects would lead to VMT increases to offset those increases through payment of fees towards or direct implementation of projects that would lessen VMT in other parts of the county or among other populations of the county. Because the TEP didn't pass, the development of a program was also put on hold. So this grant, really allows CCTA to move forward on this, albeit on a slightly different schedule. Staff believes that the state and other regional agencies are very interested in this type of innovative program, and the Contra Costa program could end up being a model for mitigating VMT impacts from land use and transportation projects statewide. So we're really looking to be a leader on this. Authority staff has been working with the Caltrans grant administrators to get all the necessary forms submitted to allow for a restricted grant agreement between the two agencies so that we can receive the funds. Approval of Resolution 2027G is the last item needed in order to submit in order to meet Caltrans's conditions. You can find that in attachment A. Once the conditions are met, the authority and Caltrans will enter into this funding agreement, and the authority will be authorized to retain a qualified consultant to conduct the study. And that's expected to occur probably around November of this year. So staff is very excited to begin working on this effort. It will require a collaborative effort between the authority's planning and projects departments, as well as staff from all of Contra Costa's jurisdictions. So staff's recommendation tonight is to adopt Resolution 20-27G and authorize the executive director to execute a restricted grant agreement and any amendments thereto with Caltrans as related to this study. So I thank you for your time, and I can take any questions on this item.
Matt, so does anyone have any questions? If so, please raise your hand so I could recognize you. Dave?
How long do you think this study will take, Matt? I actually have a project under appeal that their complaint is VMT guidance.
Sure. Yeah. So I mentioned the different timeline. If we had our own timeline, we would probably have it done really quick. Because we received the grant from Caltrans, they have a 2-year grant period. So we're on that cycle in order to receive the funds. So it'll be probably 2023 before this is complete.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the committee? No, Jackie, do we have any public speaker cards for this item?
No, we do not.
Okay, so I'll bring it back to the committee. Any other comments? Then if not, do I hear a motion?
I'll move 2027G.
Okay, is there a second?
Second. Second.
Motion by Hudson, seconded by Haskew.
The H
Uh,
should have it.
Jackie, could you call the roll, please?
She's
Yes,
gonna leave us.
Committee Member Haskew,
Yes.
Committee Member Hudson,
Yeah.
Committee Member Mitchoff,
Yes.
Vice Chair Romick,
Yes.
Chair Kelly.
Yes,
Okay, motion passes unanimously.
great, thank you. So our next item, number 4, is correspondence and communications. I don't see that we have any. Jackie, do you see any?
No, we do not.
Okay. Then number 5 is commissioner and staff comments. I don't have any comments for today. I just hope everybody has a nice Labor Day holiday. Are there any comments from the commissioners? If so, please raise your hand. Seeing none, we'll move on. Executive staff comments. Randy, do you have anything to add? No? Well, that's a pretty quick meeting, folks. So it is now 6:11, and we will
That's so
adjourn
cool.
to our next regular meeting scheduled for October 7th, 2020 at 6:00 p.m. Thank you, everyone, and the meeting's adjourned.
Great night.
Great.